Retatrutide is everywhere right now. This is the new weight loss injection being hyped as Ozempic on steroid. Even though it is not officially approved, the hype around Retatrutide has already flooded social media, and thousands of people are already buying it from the grey market. The stories around Retatrutide are confusing and deeply contradictory. On one side, people swearing by it, calling it the miraculous fat loss jab. On the other, people describing horrific stories of heart racing, muscle wasting, and even a worrying loss of joy. So which one is right? And could both sides of the story be genuinely true? I am Dr. Almerie, consultant weight loss surgeon and obesity specialist. I've spent the last few weeks deep inside the Retatrutide clinical trials, and in this video, I am going to show you what this drug is really doing, not just on the surface, but deep inside the biology of your body. We will explore how it pulls energy from your fat stores, almost like a jet wash stripping fat away, but also the biological trade-offs when you run an engine like that. No hype, no sponsors, just biology, so you can make the right choice for your body, not just your weight. Let's get into it. To understand why this drug is getting so much attention, you need to understand what came before it. Ozempic works on one receptor, GLP-1. Mounjaro works on two, GLP-1 and GIP. Now Retatrutide works on three, GLP-1, GIP and Glucagon. Adding glucagon stimulation is the game changer here. It doesn't just bring a stronger version of GLP-1, it takes it to a completely different level of biological control. So if Ozempic is more like a Ford Focus, Retatrutide is a Ferrari. More power, more demand, more burn, and the weight loss moves to another level, closer to what we see in weight loss surgery. But when you run your body like a Ferrari engine, you are pushing your biology to its limits, and not all bodies can tolerate that biological push, and this is the trade-off. The problem is you do not feel it at the start. You just see the weight dropping and think everything is working. But underneath, your heart is under more strain. Your muscle is being broken down, and you may not see it immediately until when things start to go wrong. As of May 2026, Retatrutide is not licensed or approved yet for public use. The phase 3 clinical trials are still ongoing, which means we do not yet have the full picture, especially the long-term data. But despite that, Retatrutide is already out there. Thousands of vials are circulating in the grey market, sold online, shared in private networks, used mostly without medical supervision, and the demand is driven by two groups. On one side, people who have struggled with weight for years, desperate for something that finally works. On the other side, people already in shape, but they are trying to push their body fat even lower and faster. And depending on where you are, you might recognize yourself in one of these groups. Two very different goals, yet same assumptions that Retatrutide is the ultimate fat loss tool. But this is where the misunderstanding starts, because once you understand where this power comes from, you will see why the results look so extreme and why they don't come for free. So let's unpack what's really happening in the next section. Previous generations of GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Mounjaro mainly worked by reducing your ability to take in calories. The GLP-1 effect tells your brain you are full and slows down your stomach emptying, helping you eat less. But then some very clever scientists asked a different question. What if we did not just reduce intake? What if we also force the body to burn more energy? And that is where adding glucagon changed everything. Turning on the glucagon signaling pushes the body into a higher energy burning state, a process called thermogenesis, forcing the body's energy factories known as mitochondria to waste energy as heat. This is almost like turning up the thermostat in your house. The hotter the system runs, the more energy it burns, even at rest. When I studied the clinical reports from Retatrutide, three very important things became clear. Things that explain why Retatrutide is not just a stronger version of Ozempic or Mounjaro, but a completely different class. The first is just how much weight people are losing. In the phase 2 trial, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, people lost around 24% of their body weight on Retatrutide. But the early reports of phase 3 trials suggested average weight loss was climbing towards almost 29%, particularly at higher doses. And 29%, that is pushing way into the territories we previously thought were only possible with weight loss surgery, like sleeve gastrectomy or gastric bypass. And that is why people are becoming obsessed with this drug. But the second thing that stood out was even more fascinating. Retatrutide appears to force the liver to mobilize and burn its own stored fat for fuel, almost like power washing the organ from inside out. And this matters because fatty liver disease is exploding in the modern world, particularly in people with obesity. In the phase 2 study, looking specifically for people with fatty liver disease, people lost almost 86% of their liver fat on retatrutide treatment. And this is where retatrutide starts to separate itself from all the GLP-1 drugs. This is not just appetite suppression anymore. This is the body being pushed into a much more aggressive fat-burning state. But then there was the third finding, and honestly, this is the one that caught my attention most. According to Eli Lilly's phase 3 early reports, around 12 to 18% of people stopped the medication during the trial because the weight loss was too extreme for them. And that is fascinating because normally when humans lose weight, the body fights back. It slows down energy burning, trying to protect itself from further weight loss. Eventually, weight loss starts to plateau. We see that pattern with Ozempic and Mounjaro. But retatrutide appears to push beyond some of these biological defenses because it's not just reducing intake, it's also forcing the body to keep burning more energy even at rest. And that explains why the weight loss looks so different, because now you're not only eating less, you are also burning more while your biology struggles to apply its usual brakes. And that raises a very important question. What happens when you push biology this hard for this long? Because when you run your body like a hot Ferrari engine, you are pushing biology to the extreme, and eventually extreme systems create strain and collateral damage. Some of these side effects will sound familiar from all the GLP-1 drugs, but some of them appear far more aggressive and specific to retatrutide. And this is the other side of the story, because understanding the power of this drug without understanding the biological cost is only seeing half the picture. And this is what we are going to explore in the next section. We will break down the hidden cost, the side effects, and why this drug affects the body very differently from previous GLP-1. In biology, every gain has a cost. And when we look at the biological cost of pushing metabolism this hard, the strongest clinical signal start to come from the heart. In the phase 2 trials, particularly at higher doses, retatrutide showed a dose-dependent rise in resting heart rate. In some people, around 7 to 10 extra beats per minute. Now that may not sound dramatic at first, but that's up to roughly 14,000 extra heartbeats every single day. Almost like forcing your heart to work overtime every single day. And remember, your heart never gets a day off. But while a higher resting heart rate is concerning over time, what really caught my attention was the signal of arrhythmias. In around 10% of people, the heart rhythm appeared to become less stable, creating palpitations or abnormal beats. Now importantly, all but one of the arrhythmias reported in the trial were not immediately dangerous. But when you start rolling a drug like this into thousands or eventually millions of people, including people already predisposed to rhythm disorders or underlying heart disease, this is where concerns about more serious heart complications start to grow. And this is why knowing about it and checking for these early heart signals matter. But one of the most unusual side effects reported involved the nervous system. Some people developed an extreme sensitivity to touch, where normal touch like clothing, bed sheets, or even light pressure against the skin suddenly becomes painful. People described it as a sunburn-like sensation. And what makes this side effect particularly unsettling is how strange it feels to the people experiencing it. Because when normal touch suddenly becomes painful, people get worried about what is happening inside their nervous system. In the phase 2 trial, these symptoms were reported in around 7% of participants. but in the early phase 3 reports, where higher doses of retatrutides were used, the numbers climbed to roughly 9 to 21% of participants based on the dose. And for a symptom involving the nervous system, those numbers are hard to ignore, particularly because this is not something commonly reported with all the GLP-1 drugs, which raises an uncomfortable question. What exactly is changing in the nervous system during such aggressive metabolic change? Right now, we still don't know the exact mechanism, but one possible explanation is that rapid weight loss and metabolic stress could lower the sensitivity threshold for sensory nerves, making light touch feel exaggerated or painful. We are still waiting for the longer-term data to understand whether these symptoms eventually settle over time or not. But perhaps the most difficult side effect to explain, which is reported by some people, is the feeling that life itself no longer feels the same. Hobbies lose their spark. Motivation drops. Even simple pleasures like music, conversation, or the morning coffee can start feeling muted, almost like life itself has been turned into a grayscale. Now, what makes this so confusing is that people often expect weight loss to make them feel happier, but instead, some people feel emotionally flat, as though they silence not only the food noise, but also the life noise. This phenomena is known medically as anhedonia. Right now, we still don't fully understand it, but it's likely related to how GLP-1 interacts directly with the brain's reward and motivation system. And this emotional flattening, while tolerated well by many, can drift into something more serious, including low mood or even depression. And that's exactly why people need awareness of it, because if you do not recognize it happening, you may not even realize you need help. Clearly, retatrutide is one of the most advanced pieces of metabolic engineering we have ever created. From everything we have seen so far, it may become one of the most powerful weight loss tools. The early data around obesity, fatty liver disease, and metabolic health is genuinely remarkable. But powerful tools always demand respect, because retatrutide does not just reduce appetite, it pushes human biology into a much more aggressive energy-burning state, which comes with its own risks. Some people with a strong physiological reserve may tolerate that biological push very well, gaining enormous benefits while keeping side effects within manageable limits. But others may struggle far more, and that's exactly why opinions around this drug feel so divided, because different bodies respond very differently when biology is pushed this hard. Right now, many people are already accessing retatrutide through the grey market, often for reasons far beyond its original medical purpose. But it is important to remember, this drug is still in clinical trials, and it is not yet officially approved. And we still need the long-term scrutiny that every powerful medical treatment must go through. So don't feel rushed to adopt a tool this powerful before we fully understand what it may truly do, both for weight loss and for the biology beneath the surface. Now, if you have not seen my previous core video on GLP-1 medication, I would highly recommend watching that next, because in that video, I put together everything you need to know about GLP-1 drugs, where they came from, how they work, and what the science actually shows so far. Because understanding this topic is very difficult when you try to piece together random clips and scattered opinions across social media. You can find the link for that video up here. And if you are new to this channel, this is the place where we dive deep into the science and biology behind obesity and its related treatments. No hype, no marketing noise, just evidence and medical knowledge. I am Dr. Almerie. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.